Hi there. My name is Austin Skoog. This is my answer for the midterm exam for question 2, which was asking what was the Wannsee Conference in 1942 all about, and why is the meeting relevant in the context of the Holocaust? In your opinion, who is to blame for the Holocaust and why? Discuss the role of Hitler and the SS, the German bystanders, and the role of the Catholic and Protestant churches in bringing about or not standing in the way of the Holocaust. And how could the Holocaust have been avoided, in my personal opinion? So really just addressing that first little portion of the question. What was the Wannsee Conference in 1942 all about, and why is the meeting relevant in the context of the Holocaust? So, sourced from the Yad Vashem Protocol, the Wannsee Conference was held in 1942, was led by SS leader Reinhard Heydrich, and the meeting was relevant to the Holocaust because it covered what they called the final solution, which was basically to remove all the Jews from Europe. I think it was also super relevant because it shows that the Holocaust was planned out and carried out by the government. This was not something that was just like happening randomly. I mean, this was a government-funded plan. I mean, this was the goal. It was what they were going to do, and there was really nothing getting in the way of that. And then kind of that second portion of the question, so who's kind of to blame for the Holocaust, and the role of Hitler and the SS and the German bystanders, and the role of the Catholic and Protestant churches? I mean, in my personal opinion, after reading the New York Times review on Hitler's downfall, I think Hitler is 100% to blame for the Holocaust. And I mean, we've seen that. We've talked about it during class up until this point. I mean, he had an incredibly deep hatred for the Jews, and it was all part of his plan to, I mean, completely wipe out the Jewish population. And there was nothing getting in the way of that, and you see that through this article. I mean, he completely blamed the Jews for the problems in the German economy, and he used propaganda and violence, I mean, to spread the hate, and people saw it, and they didn't do anything about it. And it's what ultimately led the Holocaust to go on for that long. And then as far as the role of the SS, I mean, they ran the death camps, right? They ran Auschwitz. I mean, they would carry out these mass shootings, and they would kill just to kill, and there's really no other reason behind it. Took every single order from Hitler and almost like worshipped him in a way. And I pulled all that from the USHMM article on the SS that you listed in the email. And then the German bystanders, sourced from the other article from USHMM on the German bystanders. I mean, they just stayed silent simply for reasons that Hitler was causing. I mean, he was completely striking pain and violence into their eyes, and it completely brainwashed them and completely terrified them. I mean, the fact that they were silent was honestly one of the reasons that the Holocaust went on for so long. But I mean, you could say now, looking back on it, if I were in that position, would I have spoke up and stood out for it? Probably yes, but in the moment, obviously something you got to think about. I mean, you have a family, you have a life. It's scary stuff, and I honestly, personally, I don't know if I would, if I was not Jewish and scared to, stand up for what's right, then I'd be probably pretty scared to come and try to help out the Jewish community just for my family and my life. Yeah, so I mean, they were staying silent, and I mean, they knew the violence that could be forced upon them. As far as the Catholic and Protestant churches, sourced from the USHMM article as well. So I read up on the Dietrich Bonhoeffer resisted, but I mean, most church leaders resisted, and some even supported the Nazi policies just to keep their churches standing and to keep peace within the church. So this sort of, in a way, goes back to the bystanders. And how they were so terrified of the SS and of Hitler. Like, they were honestly just supporting their ways just to keep the peace in their church alive, and obviously very terrified of what was going on around them, of how they could lose their church. I mean, if they tried to stand up to the Nazi regime, I mean, it could have gone south for their church and their community very quickly. I mean, they could have completely lost their church. I mean, they could, the Nazis could have, blew up their church or killed all the members in it just for standing up against them, and, things of that nature. And then the final portion of this question, I think this is the biggest part, and for me, through going throughout this whole kind of little summer term throughout this class, I found it pretty tough to really think about if and how the Holocaust could have been avoided. I have a tough time wrapping my head around if it actually could have. I mean, I really do think that World War II was inevitable. I think it was bound to happen, and it was gonna happen. And I think the back end result of that was probably that the Holocaust was also inevitable. There's things that could have, I think, tamed it, and I think there's things that, could have gone a little bit differently. But I think that with Hitler, with the total control that he gained, I just don't know if I completely see the Holocaust being avoided. I mean, let's say that the bystanders could have potentially spoke up a little bit more and resisted through, I don't know, more than just words, and use maybe somewhat of violence to stand up. I mean, that's what you had to do to kind of make your mark to the Nazi regime. But I mean, they were going to knock down who they were going to knock down. I mean, it's hard. I mean, we talked about, in the first portion of that question about the final solution. And it's like, this was a government-funded, government plan to wipe the Jewish community completely out of Europe. And it's hard. So, I mean, it's hard to stand up to government. I mean, we still see that today with protests and stuff like that. It's hard to knock down the government. They have weapons, and it's hard to, stand up and shut down what they're trying to do, especially with somebody as powerful as Hitler, who had complete and total control. You're never really going to completely shut that down unless, someone else intervenes, or a more powerful source, or a more powerful, something more powerful is going to take that over. So I mean, it was. I think that there's things that could have gone differently, that definitely would have changed it in a way, and maybe slowed it down, and it might not have lasted. The Holocaust might not have lasted for as long as it did. But I think, as far as it goes, in my personal opinion, I think it was bound to happen, and it was pretty inevitable. But yeah, that's my answer to question 2 for the midterm exam essay portion, and I'll send in my outline on email to you. Thank you.